Once we had the invitations to perform at the Dark Music Days Festival, we wanted to try to find some other situations that the students would be able to engage with the larger public. Hi. A lot of times when you're playing at festivals or going to festivals, you never leave the performance venues. So we wanted to ensure that the students would have an experience of Iceland, of the Reykjavik area, and outside into some of the natural countryside. And also keep music as a central motivating factor. Find places where there would be a kind of nexus between the local people in various places and how our students could perform for and engage with these people. I think it's a really important thing to get to know the people that you're playing for, to get to know some of the culture, to hear the language, to taste the food, to see the countryside. It was a mini tour. We played 3 concerts in Reykjavik. We played 1 at a high school, 1 at a cathedral, and 1 in a coffee house. It really gave us a kind of an object lesson in how to live as a musician. You know, be sensitive to your environment and your experience. Now offer it to other people in the form of music. We knew that one of the places that we really wanted to engage was in a school. So we made an appointment to give a concert at a school in Laugarvatn. We were on our way there, and you have to wind your way through the national park from Reykjavik to get to Laugarvatn. It's called Thingvellir, and just as we were pulling in, and it really was amazing, the sun just was rising. It was shining off the lake, and we just had to pull over, stop. It took us completely out of what we all know. By the time we got to the school to play the concert, I mean, everybody was just buzzing. The reason for going to the school is that the younger students are people you want to connect with. You want to introduce them to music that they might not otherwise be, you know, ever exposed to. To play for them in a very direct way. It wasn't like it was in a concert hall. It was up close and personal. It was much more of a sharing of music with folks than a formal concert kind of setting. And what better place to go engage with younger students where you're offering them something that will hopefully plant a seed that might say to them, well, you know, I really liked that music, or I really hated that music that I just heard, and it makes me want to pursue music that I like even more, or it has opened something up to me that I might not have otherwise heard. For the students in Foot in the Door and faculty, by engaging with these younger students, we were able to learn as well the breadth of music that they do know or don't know, getting a sense of what they seem to like over what they seem to really like from what we performed. To be able to engage with just really a few students who came up afterwards and talked with us. You know, one I know was talking with Chris Ladd because he's a guitarist. Somebody came up to me because he's actually a violinist but plays with a guitarist, and the piece that Chris and Asa played was a duo for violin and guitar. It wasn't something that they had really thought of as a kind of classical piece, even in that way. The next things that were waiting for us were, well, there were geysers, waterfalls, and glaciers. So we went to Gullfoss, which is a giant waterfall that's fed by the springs from the melting waters from the glacier. And it was a very intense afternoon. It was bright and sunshiny, but it was really windy and cold. So, you know, we really came into physical contact with the environment. On the way to Skálaholt, we went to see the geysers. The geothermal area that's in that part of Iceland has the geyser whose name is Geysers. That's what we refer to when we call any geyser a geyser. Even though that one doesn't erupt anymore, its little brother does. So we were there for a few eruptions of those, and it's pretty spectacular. Well, from there we did stop for lunch, and we had traditional Icelandic lamb soup, which was great. But then we were on our way to Sklader Cathedral. Iceland's state religion is still to this day Lutheranism. And Sklader has been a center of the Lutheran Church for centuries. The church that's in existence now is a rebuilt church, but it's still a center of learning and a center for the Icelandic church. It's got phenomenal acoustics, and it's really very simple and beautiful space. The reason for going there was we wanted to perform a concert for the students so that they could also be on the receiving end. Expose them to a traditional center of learning and of religion and of concerts in Iceland. The other thing about Sklader was that it's also a place where many tour buses go. And even though we didn't really think about it, when we were there, of course, 2 or 3 tour buses showed up. So we actually had this little drop-in concert that we ended up giving to practically a full house. But that was also kind of part of the magic of the day. Yeah, we're off to the bookstore. So that was the place that most everybody thought was the kind of the craziest thing to include on a little tour like this. So why would you go to a bookstore and give a concert? Because of it being a coffee house bookstore in a suburban town in Iceland, the people that are going to show up at Sklader would probably not be the same kind of people that are going to show up in a coffee house. But the other thing about it being a bookshop in particular, Icelanders are very, very proud of their language. They're very protective of their language, too. And really, what better place to kind of bring that to the foreground than a bookshop? It represents 2 core elements of Icelandic society, the language and coffee. And when I say coffee, it also means community. Because when you're drinking coffee, you're getting together with people. Whether it's over a book, talking about poetry, or listening to music. You could go to a library or whatever, but what's something a little bit more visceral? Where are you going to meet other kinds of people? Where are you going to meet sort of average, everyday Icelanders? Book and coffee shop. The impact of this project on our students is that it gave them a really clear set of examples for how to live as a musician, to go to a foreign country and find opportunities, really seek them out. Experiential learning, to me, is the way that performing artists learn. As teachers, we need to engage our students very deliberately in providing experiences in which they will learn new things, because playing their instrument is only one aspect of what it is they need to do to be successful artists. Being at a well-respected, prestigious festival really made them have to dig down deep and bring to the foreground through their music who they are, what's important to them. The experience of being in a foreign place and having to present yourself and represent your school, represent your country through music, it's a challenge. And I think they really met that challenge head on.